In '98, both DreamWorks and Pixar decided to do a movie about ants, but DreamWorks took a page out of DC's book and kept their version dark with a PG rating, while Pixar went the Disney route with a bubbly G-rated film. Say whatever you want about which movie is better / worse, but with the talent on both films, you gotta take them serious. Antz casted about a 1 and a 2 and a 7 total Oscar-nominated actors, and Bug's Life came in at a distant but respectable second with a total of 2. 2 of the movies are about this ant who keeps getting himself in trouble and potentially puts his colony at risk because he thinks too much. The only thing is when Flick does it, he usually thinks of ideas that could benefit antkind, and Z admittedly states that his needs, wants, and this, that, and the third are for personal gain. And not that there's anything wrong with that. In fact, when Z does his own thing, he's treated like a hero. On the other side with Flick, dude gets no kind of love whatsoever. Also, the ants in one colony seem superior from a brain game standpoint. They use advanced tech to make their lives a little easier, while the other ants got this nostalgia thing going on and use the best tools from the 80s and the 90s and are perfectly fine with things the way they are. Now, you could also argue that it's way more beneficial to be an insect with pecs instead of the kind with a mind. According to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, some ants could lift more than like 100 times their body weight. And here, I'm not surprised if they could lift even more than that, since they obviously lift weights with their free time. Over there, it's clear they don't do any weight training and only mess with cardio. Another noticeable difference between their physique is their wings. In real life, ants capable of reproduction, queens and males included, have wings. In this life, the queen, princess, and a couple of male figures have them. And in Bug's Life, the men must suffer from low sperm count because none of the dudes have wings. Speaking of baby making, in both films, the main ant is fighting to win the love of her royal highness or whatever. With Flick being the skinny silent type, he misses golden opportunities to get her digits, like the part where they're on the dance floor and everybody's doing the Macarena, and he's too shy to dance with her. But with Z being more of an in-your-face, let me take you to my place kind of guy, he starts slow grinding on the princess and stuff. By the end of the movie, both of the ants get the girl, even though Z is the type of ant you raise your kids with, and we find out if you get Flick some, he's the type that'll hit it and quit it. By the way, both princesses are in the middle of training to become the next leader of the colony by their mothers, the queen. The literal biggest differences between the two are the size of the mommy's moneymaker. In Pixar's version, the mom is a MILF, a mother I like to forget, but in DreamWorks, the mommy's booty sticks out more than her ego do, so you could totally understand why all the ants want to get her pregnant. It seems like I'm being hard on the Pixar version, but I'm probably just mistakenly doing that on purpose or whatever. It's only that I prefer my ants to be ride or die. Like this one time, they get a visit from some bigger insects, and it looks like they're about to get whooped. You would think it's better to go down with a fight, right? Psych. Only one of the Pixar ants pulled the thug card to stand up to him, and on the DreamWorks side, they ran out of thug cards that day, and everybody goes down swinging, so technically all of them are the real MVPs. If it was me and I had their kind of medical insurance, I'd jump into the fight too, but whatever. So remember that one ant with like all those ideas and whatnot? His mouth gets him in trouble with the bad guy of the film. Yeah, that's what he gets for talking too much, but in Bug's Life, all you have to do is threaten Flick and he'll mute it. You have to use extreme force to shut Z up, which is the qualities you look for in a political radical. Naturally, both ants get in trouble. In Bug's Life, you get a right to a fair trial, but in Antz, it's like you're guilty until proven innocent. Both ants volunteer themselves for a minor restraining order from the colony and step out into the wilderness. This is the part of the movie that gets darker than the Age of Ultron trailers, with 3 messages in particular. A domestic violence PSA in Antz teaches you that under no set of circumstances is it okay for a man to hit a lady. Bug's Life teaches you that it's totally fine if the lady's a ladybug. There's also a message on drinking. One movie teaches you that the best way to solve your drinking problem is to drink until you forget that you're an alcoholic in the first place. The other one has this just don't do it opposite Nike approach. And lastly, some of the characters play with fire. So the message here is only you could prevent forest fires. And the lie detector test determined that was a lie, because in the other movie, the fire is out of their hands and there's nothing they could have done to prevent that massacre. Skip to the mealtime scene. Imagine walking around all that time and not being able to eat crap. In Antz, Z can't eat crap because of the plastic wrap, but there's plenty of crap to go around in Bug's Life. When the ants finally find a decent restaurant, it's like Oprah was handing out product placements that day. I give like 2 or 3 cool points to Bug's Life because their product placements were fictional companies. Then the ants meet some new friends, a praying mantis, a ladybug, and some fleas, etc. It's real scary because this big foot comes across the screen and you know what they say about people with big feet. Not the sexual reference or anything, but that if they step on you, it's probably gonna hurt. The Bug's Life bug dodges a bullet while the ants characters get stomped on and almost die. So now back to the bad guys. The villain's right-hand man approaches him with an idea to just leave the ants alone. The bad guy hates this idea. In Bug's Life, it's easy for him to yell at his assistants without any consequences, but let the general act stupid and raise his voice at Colonel Cutter and see what happens. After that, the villain's worst nightmare comes true in both animated features. All of the ants realize that they're the workers that control the means of production, and they should be the ones in charge. But it takes them about 44 minutes to discover this in Antz, and about 1 hour and 20 minutes for it to sink in Bug's Life. To send a message to the ants, the bad guy orders his henchmen to beat up an innocent bystander, Both ants catch the same kind of beatdown, but luckily live to see another day. Then it gets to this part where it's raining and it's pouring. These ants survive way more pouring than the ants on this side are able to. Both of the idea-thinking ants come up with a good idea to save the colony, but in Bug's life, the plan is stupid, and in Antz, the less stupid plan actually works. In the end, no one fears the villain anymore, and they suffer an epic fall from grace, but the difference is the general's fall hurt way more. And those are 24 reasons these movies are different, so truth or dare, like and share, leave a comment under there. If you don't, that's not fair. This thing took a week to prepare. But I'm not a rapper though.
Best elevator music I've ever heard.